Hello there, it's Amy, and I am finally ready to present my screencast to you guys. Better late than never. My lesson plan project was over an information literacy digital media lesson. I'm going to just go over a few of the resources that I used. This is probably not as tech savvy as it should be. However, I will be adding some to it because I actually am going to implement this after the new year. We're going to really focus on some digital citizenship and lessons like that from the Media Center. So this was a good way for me to get started. Unfortunately, due to all the other situations, I was not able to get as creative as I would have liked to. So anyway, I'm going to go through my lesson real quick. I have my overview. I'm not going to bore you with all this. If you want to read it, it'll be on my Weebly later. But this was an adapted lesson from Common Sense Education. If you guys have not used Common Sense Education, that is my go-to in resources for helping teachers. I believe in the, you know, don't recreate the wheel. So I'm too old to do that, and there's too much going on these days to have to, start from scratch. So that is a great resource. I recommend that you join. They send out some great articles and things to read during the year, for other situations. The essential questions for this lesson were: why do we get hooked on digital media, and how do we make healthy digital media choices? Students as well as adults. I know that I'm addicted. I'll get wrapped into something, watching videos, reading stuff, and yes, I am subject to, ooh, that looks good. Ooh, I want to buy that, and it takes 89 weeks to get in, because it was the latest, greatest that popped up on your Facebook page. So anyway, some of the resources, the main part of this lesson comes from a Google slide, which we are a Google school, so this was nice to have and show. Digital media and your brain, finding a balance in our digital lives. I enjoyed going through this lesson as much as I think I will enjoy teaching it and presenting it, and I hope that my teachers will get just as much out of it. I'll kind of click through the present mode real quick. Here we go, digital media and your brain. How does digital media try to hook you? What can you do about it? Learning objectives. What do you think? That looks like adults and kids alike, many that I know. My mother, who's 87, says we always have our faces in our phones. So anyway, goes through the key vocabulary. It's really a good PowerPoint, not a PowerPoint, a Google slide that was already created that I was able to use as a great resource. So I'm going to exit out of that, not going to bore you with going through it. When I go back to my lesson here, some of the things that they go through, I'm going to go down here to the instructional strategies. The students would be in the Media Center. It would be individual, small, and whole group, depending on what groups were in here. Later in my lesson, I show about the differentiation of with special ed or EIP groups, how I would do that. So in here, the activator is actually project slide number 4. So I'm going to open this, and hopefully we'll be able to take a look at it right here. That's this one. This is your activator. What do you think when you see this image? What caption would you write for this image? I'm a language arts teacher at heart, so that's where I naturally go to, is the writing. So, and I've also worked with ELLs, and writing is so important as well as reading. So anyway, kind of goes through some things with the kids, goes forward to slide 5, which is this one that we were just on, is about what is a habit, what are good habits, what are bad habits. Those are some things that can really be discussed with the students. So through that activator, hopefully it'll get the kids thinking about it. I mean, it's naturally, it's best to link lessons to prior knowledge. Well, this one I think is right on the forefront for the kids. So the first activity is a video analysis, and it is going through the pressure to stay connected and how we all feel. I mean, I enjoy being away from having some digital shut off time, especially after being home for the coronacation. But we know it's hard. You know, we're used to having that. So looking right here, here is a quick little video about taking a break from their digital media and how they're hooked. And here's another thing I'm just going to point out why I love Common Sense Education is because they have related lessons that you can go on to and use, down the road. So that's one of my favorite things about it is everything is connected. And I've always been a thematic teacher, and I love to build on themes that we're already covering. So back to my lesson plan. Through this part, they will guide the students will talk about features on Netflix, YouTube, things that suck you in. My biggest thing is shopping. I like to shop. And so on, all of these, when they give advertisements, I mean, they know where to get you. They know where to pull you in. So anyway, the second part is a compare and contrast activity, which has a handout and covers, I like this because you go through the slideshow, but then you go back and look at specific slides that have the students. An extension of this, after completing this, is I want my students to be able to create Google Slides like this for their projects. So, that's something that I would like to do as an extension. Here's the human or brain drain, not humane. Sorry, that's just where I'm at today. I have some serious brain drain. So right here, we're going to go back, and here's the humane or brain drain. This gives them some writing that they have to do, why or why not, finding balance in our digital lives. So this is kind of a activity for them to go on. Going back, the next part is the summarizer, making healthy choices. That would be, continuing with that handout. And then they would do a lesson quiz. So the quiz is not the actual summative part of the lesson. It's just a part of the formative. But then again, I use the resources from commonsense.org. And a lot of this, the main part of digital media that I'm using is the Google Slides, the Google Sheets, the attachments and things like that, because that's what our school is really relying heavily on right now. So I felt that it was very important for me to do that. Another part of my lesson that I really like is that, and I'm going to scroll back up without making you dizzy, is there are some homework resources, some handouts that are available to go home with the families, family tips, family activities, family engagement resources. And these are what I a lot of times share with our family resource coordinator. So they can see that. And just for an example, here's the family activity, media balance, well-being, what they can do at home that helps to reiterate what we're doing here at school. Back to my lesson. Sorry, right here. Is I want to really share this one. Now, this one kind of comes from a college perspective. But it's got some great information on it. The benefits of digital media, the adverse effects of digital media. And actually, this is something that I ran across well into my lesson planning. So I didn't go back and do as much with it, but it really has some things. Now, there's some things in here that I would not necessarily discuss with my middle school age students, but it'd be great for, an adaptation of this for any group, grade level group. So, like I said, I'm kind of on the downhill spiral. So there are definitely some things that I would want to include in this that would take us a little bit further and past what we're doing. The actual summarizer, or um, sorry, I'm getting to it. The summative assessment. The students will apply what they've learned by completing the Healthy Social Media Habits activity, and it's on a program called Test Drive. Test Drive is an educational program that lets young people learn to practice digital citizenship skills through social media simulation. This is the part that I really wanted to emphasize. So let me go here first. I'm going to open it in a new tab. And here is Social Media Test Drive. This is something that I have really kind of gravitated to, and this is kind of what's made me excited about teaching digital citizenship and some of those key concepts to my student, is because they like to interact. So when they're doing this, here's what you're about to do. It tells them click to get started. It goes through these steps, next key ideas. What's a habit? What's an attention grabbing design? What's a feedback loop? Okay, it gives them an interactive way to go through what you're talking about. And I love this. So it's socialmediatestdrive.org, and it's the tutorials. This one's on actual habits, but there are others. So I would definitely encourage you to explore that, especially if you're a media specialist or you're in the media, in the information literacy setting. This definitely drew me to this lesson. So in my lesson plan, I have included the Social Media Test Drive guide. Each module in this teaches digital citizenship concepts, and it gives those models that you would like the students to follow, and it puts them in dilemmas and scenarios that they will encounter. This is such a great tool to be able to summarize what we've learned. And like I said, I do have a quiz for them to do. The quiz is this, and they have to log in with their Google. The kids do not actually have to have access to the resources. I will be sending them a link. So anyway, I know this is kind of scattered, and I do apologize, but thank you for listening.